My guest on the program is Mr. Alhassan Nuhu, the Director of Planning, Research and Forecasting at the National Emergency Management Agency. Is 2021 going to be business as usual? Advocacy with no substantial impact? Mapping flood-prone communities and putting up flood barriers are great ideas from Mr. Nuhu, but what are the long-term solutions? Please watch this. Mr. Nuhu, welcome to Dateline Abuja.
Thank you very much.
For the first time, NEMA is publishing a disaster risk management report. Why hasn't this been done over the years, and what informed making this report for 2021?
Well, you know, early warning is a system. It's a system, not just a mechanism. And system has subsystems. The subsystems are risk knowledge, accurate and reliable forecast, number 2. Number 3, dissemination of that reliable forecast to responsible authorities and to communities at risk. And number 4 is the capacity of the responsible authorities and the communities at risk to be able to understand these warnings and act on them. So if you have a breakdown of any component of the subsystem, the whole system collapses. This is why NEMA comes in. 1, to have an early warning, you have to have knowledge of the risks ab initio. You have to know the hazards around you and the associated risk. This is why NEMA comes in. And again, in the area of dissemination of that warning, and in the area of building the capacity of those who will act on the warning, and then the communities whom that are at risk of these disasters. And there is a global consensus that actually the problem with early warning system is not in the accuracy or reliability of the forecast. It's not with the knowledge of the risk. It is more with disseminating it, and much more with the capacity of those who take action to even understand it and act on it. So NEMA put together a committee of 21 experts from across all the sectors of the economy: NIMET, NISA, the Space Agency, the aviation sectors, agric, all experts in this country were put together to work more on the documents, the seasonal climate prediction of NIMET and the annual flood outlook of NISA, to digest it, to bring out in more clear terms the disaster implication of those climate services. And this is what was done. And we have disseminated it to all the states affected, likely to be affected. There are so many implications of this climate services forecast, which we have digested, simplify it, and bring it more closer to those who take action, and then bring it more closer to communities that are likely to be affected. So
that's actually what my question is. The fact that this is the first time that this disaster risk management report is being released. Is this an admission that maybe the way it's been working over the years hasn't been yielding as much results as it should, and maybe this is NEMA's way of trying to, you know, have different results this year with this report?
Yeah, it's an improvement. This gathering of experts really didn't start this year. It started as far back as 2010. Every year we do it, then we disseminate to relevant ministries, departments, and agencies, and to relevant to affected states. What we did this year is to call a press conference and then present it formally to the general public. It's an improvement of what has been going on over the years.
I know that there have been so many sensitization workshops, and you do this every year, some sort of sensitization, especially in flood-prone communities. Yes. It doesn't seem to be yielding as much results as we would expect it to. What's going to be different this year?
Well, we are focusing more on the communities directly. You know, DRR is something that you need to continue doing on a continuous basis and to involve everybody. It doesn't end with the ministries, with the department and agencies. You have to go down to the community level. And this we are trying to do, and we are encouraging every other stakeholders to do the same.
Something that you've advocated for is the mapping of communities. In fact, it's called the mapping of communities with high probable flood risk.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? And how are you going to achieve that?
Well, you know, NISA, when they released their annual flood outlook, it was very clear that there is a very high probability of flooding in 121 local governments across 27 states of the Federation.
121 local
governments. And a moderate probability in 302 local governments across the 36 states of the Federation, including the FCT. So what we are doing is to target on the high probable areas, to map those areas, to know exactly where the flood is going to happen. You map it with the intention of, one, identifying the area, two, getting a safe haven when the flood comes, areas that you can evacuate people to.
So that's basically the plan, is to evacuate people who are living in these flood-prone
areas. To know the flood-prone areas, and then to evacuate them, and then to also preposition resources that you can be able to respond to them adequately and timely. So the mapping is important in a number of ways. One, it zeroed down your sensitization campaign to particular areas. Two, it gives you opportunity to identify safe areas, even within the flood-prone areas, where you can evacuate people. And then again, you can pre-position resources.
All right, well, before I let you go, you suggested the modification of settlements to withstand floods, putting up flood barriers and you know, things like that. How are you going to get that? Are you going to work with the mapping? So when you map out those communities, are you going to now start to put the flood barriers in those places? How is this supposed to work?
We engage the state government, the local government authorities to collectively work together, identify the vulnerable areas, identify the particular mitigation strategies that will be applicable, and then together we join resources to put them in place.
Well, Mr. Nuhu, you have your work cut out for you. Thank you so much for being with us on Dateline Abuja.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.